Central Minnesota Sports Hub. It's the Morning Sports Desk, presented by Wadena's Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade. Available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts, and streaming on YouTube.
It is the Morning Sports Desk on a Wednesday, the 7th of May. I'm CJ Baumgartner. That's Corey Tackman. The Morning Sports Desk, always powered by Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade in Wadena. Corey, Park Region Conference baseball went down to the wire yesterday.
Yeah, it sounds like it was a pretty nice baseball game and a beautiful afternoon for a ball game, huh?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the weather was just perfect. The conditions were great, and we had a little matchup between Otter Tail Central and Wadena Deer Creek in a PRC clash. And once again, just muddying the waters of what the Park Region Conference is in the standings. So let's take a look here. The Otter Tail Central Bulldogs came away with a 2-0 victory over Wadena Deer Creek. Kale Misagatis got the victory, pitching about 5 innings in the win. Got a run kind of in the middle part of the game, added an insurance run on late, I believe, in the top of the 6th inning, and that was enough for the Bulldogs to get a 2-0 victory. They also got a win on Monday over Norman County East, Ulen Hitterdal in Frazee, 23-2 in 5 innings. So the Bulldogs now have won 2 in a row. They're up to 7-5 on the season. And in the Park Region Conference, Corey, they are 5-4 rather, which means, just to go to the standings one more time, Parker's Prairie, 7-2, Pillager, 7-4, Otter Tail Central and Wadena Deer Creek, both 5-4. New York Mills, 5-5. Sabika, 4-5. Bertha Hewitt Verndale, 3-7. Monaga, 3-8. Just perfectly clear, right?
Perfectly crystal clear on opposite day.
Yeah. I mean, it was a pitcher's duel. Listening to Kyle Gelsine on the call yesterday on the Superstation, he was going through the game, and just a really good pitcher's duel of a game. Kale Misagatis on the bump for Otter Tail Central. Ben Krecklau on the hill for Wadena Deer Creek. And both of them, I think if you ask both head coaches, and especially with Coach Dykoff and the Wolverines, even though they lost the game, I think he'll tell you, you pitch like that in a game, you usually win. If you go, I don't believe it was a complete game, but it was about 6 innings or something like that. You pitch 6 innings of 2-run ball, there's a good chance your team is going to win that ball game more often than not. So, sure. Yeah, just a pitcher's duel. And as we learned in the Park Region Conference, Corey, it feels like every team has an ace, and that ace can go against any lineup in the conference. And what really kind of establishes the teams is how good you have behind them. But more importantly, if you have ace versus an ace kind of game, you expect a lot of 2-0s.
Yeah, you have an ace versus and then a game that's going to fly along. It's going to cruise right along. And I don't know. Those are just you're a baseball fan. I'm a baseball fan. They're the best. Those are the games you want to go see. Those are the games you want to go. You want to watch pitchers do work. You want to watch offenses try to figure it out. You want to watch coaches try to chess piece their way around the base paths and who's going to steal, who's going to get greedy, who's going to bunt, who's going to hit and run, who's going to try to get tricky in a moment when they have to, because the opportunities come few and far between. And Coach Dykoff and Coach Hendrickson they're willing to have a little fun over there in the third base coach's box.
Yeah, exactly. Wadena Deer Creek moves to 7-5 on the season. They have a matchup tomorrow against Sabika, Friday at Monaga to wrap up their week for Otter Tail Central. On the other hand, they play on Friday against Bertha Hewitt Verndale. That'll be a game under the lights, as they say, for senior night over there at Tony Kaluski Field in Henning. So there you go. All right, Corey, we did our little Park Region Conference spiel. We do need to do our spiel now about the Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade in Wadena.
Great news. The fan favorite strawberry spinach salad is back at the Pizza Ranch in Wadena. We're talking spinach, we're talking strawberries, we're talking feta cheese and candied pecans drizzled, as it says, with the poppy seed dressing. How good does that sound? Even better, you can enjoy that on what is a double points day today at the Pizza Ranch. Earn 2 times the ranch rewards points when you enjoy your buffet favorites, like, for example, the strawberry spinach salad. So swing by and enjoy lunch, enjoy dinner, enjoy the food on behalf of the Pizza Ranch, and swing over to the FunZone Arcade, where, of course, while you're there, you can check out the brand new Star Wars Coin Pusher arcade game waiting for you there. Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade in Wadena.
Proud sponsors, we hope, of the morning sports desk. Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade in Wadena. All right, Corey, before we talk a little Minnesota State sports about the Twins winning and the Wolves doing something that made my eyeballs throw up, we do need to talk about an important thing that happened in the world of public relations, PR, media campaigns, because there's a company that did what I think is the best campaign ever, LASIK.com. Have you seen these ads? Wherever they show up on Twitter all the time. LASIK.com, of course, with LASIK eye surgery. Basically, what they do is anytime there's a bad officiated game or a controversial call, they will always quote tweet it, and they'll be like, "Hey, Mr. Umpire, you get a free LASIK surgery on us." And they just keep doing it for umpires and officials. They say any umpire or official who wants, they can get free LASIK surgery from LASIK.com. And first of all, on its face, Corey, that's just a great media campaign, right?
Yeah, it's perfect. That is perfectly well executed. How many times do you see? I mean, it's been a long time since you've seen the cartoonish, like somebody in the stands offer their glasses, but it happens. I see it once a year. Here you go, official. Do you need this? So I love that LASIK.
You hold up your phone and you go missed calls.
Yeah, they just that LASIK is leaning into it like that is awesome. I'm going to also go out on a limb and say CB Buckner is not taking them up on their offer.
No, it doesn't seem like it. I don't think Angel Hernandez did either, which is just crazy because they got offered so many times for free LASIK surgery. You'd think at some point that they would just bite the bullet and go like, you know what? This is free medical stuff. Yeah, might as well.
One of the reasons we hate CB Buckner because he doesn't think he was getting anything wrong.
It's the reason we don't like Phil Cuzzy because he needed LASIK more than anybody when Joe Mauer hit an RBI double at Yankee Stadium down the left field line, clearly in fair territory. He's looking right at it, and he's like, foul ball. Good job. Good job, guys. That was before replay because Major League Baseball decided replay was only needed for home runs and not fair or foul. Good job, bud.
Because why would you miss a fair or foul call?
Goodness gracious. I want to look up a picture of that right now. Joe Mauer, Phil Cuzzy.
I love, while you're looking that up, it's just perfectly executed on behalf of LASIK to be like, this is what we're doing. This is what we're going to provide. And then the funniest thing on top of it is that there have been umpires who've taken them up on the offer. It's not just that LASIK is offering this, right? Umpires are like, oh, you are? Yeah, I will 100% take free LASIK. That sounds amazing.
According to Front Office Sports, LASIK.com is trolling umpires and referees who have made questionable calls by offering them their vision-correcting surgery for free, but it's not just a joke. Several pro officials have taken them up on their offer, the company tells Front Office Sports. I mean,
it's so good.
Somebody's got to, if you're like an NBA ref and you're wearing glasses all the time and somebody's like, hey, free LASIK, you're like, okay. Yeah.
I would like to just, if I can, plead my case here very quickly.
Yeah.
Okay. This is directly to, I'm speaking directly to LASIK.com. Okay. LASIK.com. I don't umpire. That's not a thing that I do, but I will tell you this much, that I couldn't find the salt and pepper shakers in my house just the other day. And I looked in the 3 known places where I thought where they usually and always are. And they weren't there. So finally, out of frustration, I finally had to ask where those things were. And my wife goes, are you kidding me? They're right. And then she pointed to where they weren't on top of the stove. They weren't to the left of the stove, and they weren't on the table. Do you know where they were? They were right in the middle of the stove. But because they weren't in the 3 places where we keep them, I didn't see them. So as a plea to LASIK and on behalf of my beautiful bride who doesn't deserve my ineptness, I think I qualify for a free LASIK eye exam. Don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, you might as well. Just say you're an umpire and see if LASIK will even bother to double check. They'll just make their numbers go up.
We put the peanut butter on the same shelf every single time. The other day, I couldn't find it. Do you know why? Because somebody in my house put the peanut butter on a different shelf, and it might as well have been thrown straight to Mars. So LASIK, again, on behalf of my wife, who's moving things without telling me about it, but even though they're still in very clear physical view of my eyesight and my periphery, I'm not finding these things. So maybe, even though I'm not an umpire, maybe you could throw a free LASIK my way.
Give Corey LASIK surgery. Let's start this campaign. He's got a GoFundMe ready to roll.
Yeah, look at these things. Look at these Coke bottles I'm dealing with. They're not Coke bottles. My eyesight is. Are you? You don't have glasses, do you?
2020.
2020, eh?
Hey, that's the only thing I got going for me. That's about it.
Okay.
By the way, since we're on this topic here, I feel like we need to just look at all these different pictures. I can't pull it up without pulling up like an entire article from 2009. But look at this. Look at all of these pictures. I'm going to try and zoom in on one just so we can look at what we got here. All right, this is zoomed in too much. Here we go. Look at this. Look at this right here. He's looking right at it, and he called it foul.
It is. The thing about this is, I mean, it was almost 20 years ago now, so I don't really think about it that often. But when I do see this picture, what always amazes me is that you would think, because you would think he would be all the way down at third base, but it's a playoff game, so they have the extra umpires
right
there in the outfield. Look at how close he is to the foul. He is that Melky? Is that Melky running in the outfield there?
I can't remember who that was.
He's more than 3 Melky Cabreras away from where that ball landed. Do you understand how close he is and still miss it? It's not like if you was at third base and just had to turn around and do his very best, or it was like a high school official who he's the only one on that side and he's the home plate umpire and has to try, like, he's 15 feet away from that.
And it's a foul ball with the utmost confidence.
Stunningly close to that play that there's just no reason he should have missed that.
Bill Cuzzy is lucky that Twitter wasn't as popular in 2009 as it was today.
Yeah, he's one of the all-time. He might be on the Mount Rushmore.
If he's not, he's certainly getting his face chiseled in beneath him.
He's the crazy horse. He's the crazy horse honorable mention of the Mount Rushmore of bad officiating.
Yeah, exactly. He's not like up on the mountain, but there is like a little wing of him in the museum down on the foot.
God, he stinks. What? Yeah, that was a brutal call. And
he talks about Joe Mauer had no signature playoff moments. That was it. Phil Cuzzy took it from him.
He sure did.
That was awful.
And you know what? Also, screw you, Melky Cabrera.
Yeah. All right. Speaking of the Twins, they got a win yesterday. They won 9-1. Buxton had a double and a home run. Correa hit a home run. And again, this is just one game. But it's fun when it's fun when your two best players play good baseball, you know?
The ball that Buxton hit for a double
right off the pad in left field
was spanked. Had like 110 exit velocity. You just absolutely crushed it. The only thing was that it had topspin on it and not back. If he would have hit that thing with backspin, it would have gone farther than Carlos Correa's 458-foot home run, which was also unbelievably pummeled. Correa Brian Doziered that one. That was a letter high fastball. And I've never seen Carlos Correa do this. He is not a just put your head down and kind of like soak in the moment. I've never seen him like pimp a home run before, and he pimped that one.
As he should have.
It went 460 feet. So far.
That's a lot. And the Twins get a win over the woeful Orioles, who are having a weird start to their year as well. And again, as we talked about earlier in the week, you play them 6 out of your next 9 games, and it's just a nice opportunity to be able to string some wins together, because you play them, and then you play the Giants, who are in a good spot, but then you play them again, then you play Milwaukee, who's off to a weird start to the year, and then you get a chance at Cleveland again, and Kansas City, and Tampa Bay is kind of off to a weird start. So, like, there is a lot of wins to be had here in May to at least get yourself to, like, can you get yourself to 500 by the end of the month? And if you can do that, you have June and July to kind of get yourself in a good spot for the trade deadline and see where you're at. But right now, like, that's about it. They got to win a lot for it to care. Otherwise, this is just like a fun game in a weird season so far.
No, they were just on. I don't get to watch many Twins games, so it was fun to have them on and then have them not be a colossal disappointment while they were on. Like, there's just some fireworks. It was fun to see Buxton do some things. It was fun to see Royce back in the lineup and Willie back in the lineup and Correa, hitting bombs. That's kind of how I would like to watch baseball. Is my favorite team winning.
Yeah, that's if it can happen, I'd like to do that. Which is why on national TV, a week straight of Timberwolves propaganda, everybody ready to talk about Anthony Edwards taking the next step. And the Wolves played what might have been the worst game I've ever seen in a playoff setting. Because did the Timberwolves fall flat on their face in game one. Corey, I was having a plumbing issue with my house. So I was fixing that for most of the game to make sure my house had running water. And by the time I got done with that, like the stress of like, I got to go to work tomorrow. My family's been gone all day. Like, we got to try and fix this late at night. Like, all of that stress. And then to turn the game on and see the score at halftime and to watch some of the quote unquote highlights, it made me want to break my plumbing again and just deal with that the rest of the night.
The good news is that it was so ugly that that actually was not that stressful of a watch. You know what? This I was reminded actually of you're not going to like this, so I apologize. Do you remember how week 17 or week 18 of the Vikings season, the last game of the year, when they laid an egg against Detroit?
Uh-huh.
And there were two kind of like prevailing conversations about the Vikings, and they were unbelievable for the first 17 weeks of the year. And then they had a bad one in a big moment, but that's not who they are. That was one conversation. The other conversation was, oh my gosh, that was really bad in a moment when they needed it the most. I'm super nervous now about how the playoffs are going to go. And then what happened in that first playoff game? They performed exactly as they did in their final regular season game. That's how this one felt. I know that the Timberwolves beat the Lakers in game 5, but you may have forgotten that they set the record for most missed three-pointers in a playoff game in the history of the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
They shot like crap in game 5 against the Lakers. And I thought, well, that was weird, but that's not who they are. And there's no way that's going to be who they're going to stay. And did they stay really bad shooters. That was awful, CJ.
It was
awful. And then it was turnovers. It was like,
it wasn't just that they were missing shots. Like when the Wolves played against the Lakers in that game 5, they were missing shots, but the defense was still good. Gobert was dominating.
The energy was high. This was like, what are we even doing here?
Right. The amount of sloppy turnovers in transition was just mind-boggling. The missed shots were bad. Overall, like Anthony Edwards, like went scoreless in the first half, like 0 for 8 or something like that. And all of that to be said, Chris Finch reamed everybody after the game, but specifically called out Ant. After like, he's got to be better. And when the game goes like that, you have to find, basically he's like, he didn't play well on offense, on defense, on whatever. And he's like, you are the best player. It starts with you, my guy. Fix it.
That was a team loss, but it is also, by the way, I am not here to like sugarcoat or glass half full.
Yeah.
But explanation, I think, is necessary.
Yes.
This is a team who had a lot of time off and has for 2 full seasons not been mature, getting ready for things. And when they are favored to beat somebody, they take it simply. And then when Steph Curry goes out 8 minutes into quarter number 2, even though it's not going your way, you think, well, Steph, like, they're just sometimes lazy. He's just sometimes lazy. It's his final like hurdle. It's not a physical thing anymore with him. It is a complete and utter medal. And it's not just him. That is the entire team not showing up, not working hard, not rebounding, not making the second effort, not doing whatever it is they need to do, and then just insisting upon the only way to get myself out of this is to jack up 25 footers.
Right.
Then the third quarter hits, and what do? Ant goes right to the rack. And Golden State kept hitting shots, and credit to them. Like Jimmy Butler banks in a 28-footer from the top of the key.
As the shot clock expires, I literally changed the channel after that. I was looking for the remote, and then the Wolves turned it over. Golden State with a Buddy Hield 3 in the corner, and I was like, well, they're going to play like that. They're not winning.
And that's okay. And like, that's okay. What this game reminded me of, more than anything, it was 2 games in a row of really poor shooting. That's not ideal, obviously. But what it reminded me of most was the loss to the Lakers in game 2, where it was every time somebody got in the lane, Nas and Ant in particular, like the ball just ended up in the third row.
Right.
Or indecisive decision making on fast breaks. They've got like a Julius has DDV to his left and Nas to his right, but DDV is in front of him, is leading the way. It's a 3-on-1, and just like the rule is get it to the guy in front of you, and Julius dribbles all the way into the free throw line and then tries to hit Nas coming down the right side and just throws it into the second row. It was bad. It was bad. It was like, have you ever been to a really fun birthday party?
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe like a pinata, like you're a kid and there's a pinata there, and it is just like it's chaotic. The most fun energy you could have as a kid. You ever been to one of those?
Yeah.
This was the opposite of that.
When you get there and the parents are like really strict, and
this was the pinata. That was what it was like watching that game. You were being bludgeoned. That's what that game was as a fan. That wasn't fun at all. That was the opposite of a pinata birthday party.
No.
That was the pinata.
That was it.
Wolves in fact is going to be really impressive now.
Yeah, and here's the thing. Maybe that's all the Wolves needed. They needed to have a really bad loss to make all the experts pick Golden State, and then the Wolves are back again. Maybe that was it. Maybe that was all they needed. But here's the biggest thing in this series. There's a couple ways. Again, you could look at it and say that's 2 games in a row of bad play. What are they going to do? Whatever. And that's true. And I think
shooting. I do want to clarify. It's 2 games in a row of bad shooting. They played well otherwise against the Lakers. They played like crap.
Well, and this is the other part. And nothing against JJ Redick, nothing against the Lakers. But Golden State is playing better than them. They are better coached. They are more disciplined. They are like the Lakers are flashier, obviously, but the Warriors are disciplined. Draymond Green is disciplined, like on defense, like mechanically, not necessarily extra.
I'm sorry.
There's like discipline. Like they have a lot of guys who are going to they just have basketball IQ, and they're going to force the Wolves they're going to try and make the Wolves do dumb things, and the Wolves love to do dumb things, and that's what the Warriors did.
Well, and so I had a couple of friends who were like, this is what the Warriors just play really good defense and had a really good game plan. And I'm like, I don't think I watched the same game. It seemed like the Timberwolves were able to do everything they wanted to do normally, and just shots didn't fall. So it's not like there was this super secret plan that was in place.
We're just going to make him work for it more than the Lakers made him work for it.
Also, Draymond was like 4 of his first 4 from the 3-point line. Like, okay, I mean, that's just how it's going to go. And I know what we're saying sounds a lot like what the Lakers fans said after game 1 of that series, where you're going to say things like, Draymond Green is not going to finish the game with 23 points and finish 5 of 7 from the 3-point line. That's not going to happen again. And that's probably true, but it did happen, which means you have to take it seriously, which now changes your game plan the rest of the time. You can't just slag off on Draymond, although I would love if they did. I would love, cool, man, you did it once. Do it again. I dare you 3 more games. I bet you can't. I bet you can't.
Well, and the thing that'll be interesting is that this is the other part. Do the Wolves, because Steph Curry left the game, and not only that, it's a hamstring strain. He could be out for the next couple games.
Yep.
There's no, not again. What was it? The thing I do appreciate with the Google sponsor is that 5 minutes after the Steph Curry injury, they pulled up on the broadcast. They're like, the most searched thing on Google over the last hour has been, how long does a hamstring strain take, or something like that.
Forever.
everybody in Golden State's like, how long is he going to be out? And like, that'll be interesting to see how bad. I mean, obviously, like, there's different grades and there's different like severities and whatever. So they're going to assess it. But Steph Curry's not playing in game 2. That is probably going to happen. And you need to, and are the Wolves going to go, oh, Steph's not playing. All right, we're going to win this game. Because as much as I do not like Jimmy Butler and think a lot of his stuff is overblown, Jimmy Butler, if he has an opportunity to embarrass the Wolves, he's going to take that opportunity, and he's got a chance to kind of step in. Now, they're a much different team without Steph. But that's to say is like the Wolves still might be okay because Steph Curry is hurt.
Correct. I mean, the thing that'll be interesting.
It's not over. Like, that's the biggest thing to take away from how bad.
I will not. If the Timberwolves end up losing this series, game 1 is not going to be the reason why they lost it. That's just not how it works. It was really bad. It was 2 bad games in a row of some of the worst shooting we've ever seen from this franchise and historically in the league. But just the overall effort was really poor and frustrating to watch. You would assume that gets better. The only thing I need, we've talked about this before, is I'm pretty much over the boy who cried wolf sentiment of like, yo, that's on us. We got to be better. We got like, how many times we got to have this conversation with you?
Mm-hmm.
If I came up to you every single day and just kicked you in the balls and be like, my bad, that's on me. I gotta be better. Eventually you're going to be like, you're going to protect yourself every time I walk by you. Right?
Late every time we try and record a sports desk and I go, my bad. I was an hour late. That's on me. We'll do it.
So, quit apologizing for not coming prepared. You're an adult and this is your job. Do your job.
Figure it out.
Show up prepared. Knock this off. Quit apologizing for it.
Or even if you do show up prepared, execute. Like, do what you have to do.
I don't care if they get beat because Golden State beat them. I do care if they get beat because, we just weren't, I guess, quite up for this one.
Right. It's like
that's baloney.
The amount of times the Wolves, and again, the Wolves play an aggressive man-to-man defense. So what does Golden State do? it felt like, and again, this is anecdotally, I missed chunks of the game. It felt like there was a lot of just backdoor, like they just tried to backdoor everything and there was a lot. The amount of times I saw somebody from Golden State just streaking wide open along the baseline and Julius Randle's back to something, or like it just looked like sloppy on all fronts.
It was sloppy on all fronts, but I will defend them a little bit. They scored 99 points. That's not a lot of points.
Right.
They had a big third quarter. But they didn't even they had like 40 points at halftime.
Right.
Like they were on pace to score under 90 points.
They had 99 points with Steph missing most of the game.
It was not like they had 83 points with 8 minutes to go.
Right.
And then, by then the game's pretty much over and it just turns into a track meet.
Despite how bad it was, the Wolves still had a chance to win that game.
Well, despite how bad it was, Golden State wasn't good.
Right.
It's not like they were good. So you were right. Those things happened, but those things happen every game. I thought the Wolves, generally speaking, played okay defensively.
It's a lot like
40 points at halftime.
It's a lot like the Twins pitching conversation of the Twins blow a 1-run lead. And everybody's like, the bullpen sucks. And it's like, well, they lost 2-1. Like, that's not their fault today.
Correct.
Like that.
It's not the defense's fault. You can score more than 99 points.
It's allowed.
It's the second playoff game they've scored in the 70s.
By the way, this is
ridiculous. That's bad.
They scored 85 points against the Lakers, remember? And that was their worst offensive game. And somehow they scored 88 and still managed to be back. And again, the Wolves had a stinker mixed in game 2, and everybody thought, oh, there we go. The Lakers got their win. Now the series is back. And then the Wolves played better the next 3 games. Lakers fans, by the way, on social media were like, oh, of course the Wolves magnet ball ends as soon as they're done playing us. And then everybody had screenshots of the Wolves shooting stats in game 5. It's like, no, you just suck.
They weren't, they were pretty much not great shooters after game 1.
Mm-hmm.
That was pretty much the case. They just need to straight up shoot better.
And again, if you look at Dante DiVincenzo's like 7 of 33, I think, in the playoffs, which isn't great from 3. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, I will defend that guy a lot, but man, the Wolves are going to have a decision about him this offseason, and he's not making it hard on.
Listen, if you want to, do you want to have that conversation? Do you know how many backup point guard / two guards there are in the league.
Right.
Like, he's been really bad.
Does he want to have a future in a minute? Like, it's that kind of thing of like, man, like, come on.
He's wrecking his future elsewhere.
Well, right.
Now, he's like, he was probably never going to be a Timberwolf anyway, and this is whatever. We're going down a spiral here, but like, he was probably not going to be re-signed anyway. What all he's doing now is just earning himself fewer dollars.
Right. It's been
play better, dude.
Play better.
Defensively, again, they only gave up 99 points in a game that got away from them.
Put a ball in the cup.
Just make a shot. There was at one point. They were at 1 point through 2 of 21, 3 of 21 from 3.
Yeah.
2 of 21 from 3 at one point. If they were 9 of 21, okay, which is 42%, that's a good number. 42% is a good number, but like, that's a lot of, you're shooting a lot of threes, right? Anyway, if you're 9 of 21, they would have been up by 1 at halftime.
Right. The Wolves made 5 threes all game or something like that. If they just
if they would have been
double that
one, if they would have been 7 of 21, which is 39-ish%. Well, 7 of 20 was 33%. They would have been down by like 2 scores going halftime. We're talking about a totally different game. They were 2 of 21 and down by 20 because of it.
All of this to say that Wolves game was bad and ugly, and they didn't show up ready to play, and they did a lot of things that are really frustrating. And all of that being said, they still had a chance to win, and all of that being said, there's like the vibe for this series is weird, but in no way should the vibes be dead for the Minnesota Timberwolves. All right, Corey, let's do a little NBA nickname game here, because the playoffs have been really fun around here. Every road team, by the way, won in the opening game series.
Yep.
For the second round, which is insane.
And for they're 2-0.
Right.
Indiana,
yeah, is proving, like, when the Wolves lost to some of those Indiana teams, I think it looks less and less worse, because they are just proving that they're really good. They made the Eastern Conference Finals last year. They're going to try and do it again. But anyway, let's do a little NBA nickname game. We haven't done this in a while, but hey, the playoffs are going. Let's do a quick one. We just have 3 names here, 3 names that we are going to use and talk a little bit about as we try and get through this here. So are you ready to go?
No.
All right, here we go. Name number 1. Hallie.
Oh, Halliburton. Tyrese Halliburton. We just talked about him.
Yes, Tyrese Halliburton. Do you know where he was born?
Bloomington?
Oshkosh, Wisconsin.
Oh, okay, cool.
Played at Iowa State. And then, of course, was drafted by the Kings, and the Kings were like, nope, we want Sabonis instead. Or was that, it was for him and Sabonis? That was I
think so.
And then everybody was kind of like, what's the deal with this trade? And then initially it looked like,
because they had De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah.
And they got rid of De'Aaron Fox too.
The Kings, man. I mean,
the Kings. That's it. That's all you need to say. The Kings, man.
The Kings. They once again find every situation possible to just
suck.
Like, anytime there's any semblance of hope in a franchise, it just disappears, because they're not good.
Except for when C-Webb and Vlade and Bobby Jackson and those guys were there, but then also the Timberwolves existed.
Right.
And the Lakers.
All right. Name number 2, J-Dub. Again, these are all teams that are currently playing in the playoffs.
J-Dub. Jalen Williams. Is there Jalen Williams?
Jalen Williams for the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Yep.
Went to high school in Perry.
Wait, does Hallie have other nicknames?
Nope, that's it.
That name sucks. Does J-Dub have any other nicknames?
Nope, that's it.
So not creative at all. Those nicknames stink.
No, these are these are pretty bad today. I'm gonna be honest. There's not a lot of good ones, but I think you know what, you might as well. All right. This person has one nickname. Let's see if you can get it. Air Gordon.
I wonder. I mean, that's basically his entire name minus the second syllable.
Minus the on.
His name is Aaron Gordon, and they're just like, you know what, Aaron, that's too many syllables. We need it down to 3 syllables, not 4. Air Gordon. Yeah, no, that's bad. That's a bad one too.
Aaron Gordon, man, he was in the same. I believe he was drafted the same year as Karl Anthony Towns. He was kind of in that draft, and it was a sneaky addition because I think he got traded in like the bubble or something like that, or like right after it was. And he's been like one of their like really underratedly important players because obviously Jamal Murray and Jokic and people talk about those guys, but it's been important for them over the last few years.
Who would you say is Denver's big 3? Jamal, and then who's the third? Is it Gordon or is it Porter?
I mean, I feel like, I don't know. It kind of depends on the day. I feel like they probably lean more towards Porter, but I guess I feel like
that's fine. I'm asking that to lead to a second question. Who's the Lakers' big 3?
LeBron, Luka, Reeves.
Okay, by your estimation. And by the way, this did not come from the person who you think it's coming from. This came from someone else in my life.
Okay.
Who's the better big 3? LeBron, Luka, Reeves, Jokic, Jamal, Porter.
Well, that's the thing is as currently constructed. So like you're talking about a 40-year-old LeBron and you're talking about a chubby Luka and
it's currently constructed. This is not an all-time question. This is right. Who's the better big 3?
I mean, if you just look at which team has been more successful over the last 5 years, you probably got to say the Denver one, right? I
agree. I disagree. Jokic is the best player in the world.
Right. But the drop off from 1 to 2 and 3 you're saying is
well, and I would say the difference between like LeBron and Luka are clearly 2 and 3 in this mix.
Yes.
And Luka's closer to Jokic than Jamal is to LeBron.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
That's fair.
And then I know Reeves wasn't good in the playoffs, but like, don't you trust Reeves more than you trust Porter?
Kind of, yeah. I mean, Porter he's got a little bit of dumb gene in him.
Yeah, and sucky at basketball. Like I can't make he would have fit in on the Timberwolves really nicely yesterday. Mm-hmm. Isn't the Lakers' big 3 cumulatively better than that? I mean, I don't want to give them any credit for the person that we're thinking about, but like that Denver big 3 isn't better.
I mean, you could make the case, yeah, because the Lakers' problem wasn't necessarily their big 3. The problem was anybody after 3 was
correct.
The Lakers have never had an issue with star power.
That's true.
They've always had an issue, and especially in the last decade, they've had an issue of acquiring stars and not doing anything else besides that.
Or acquiring the wrong stars and trading away and mortgaging everything for it.
Right. You could be worse. You could be the Clippers who traded away SGA for Paul George. So
whoops-a-daisy. How's SGA doing these playoffs?
Yeah.
He's not going to win the MVP. I think Jokic is going to win it.
No, I think he'll probably still win it.
You think so?
I think some of the voting happened already, didn't it?
Yeah, but they haven't announced it.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
I feel like it's because remember Embiid won the MVP because people were like, do we want to give the MVP to Jokic again? Because what are we signifying by giving him another MVP? Which, like, I get the conversation. I think it's stupid if the guy's the best player, just give him the MVP. But, like, it's the same thing with I think LeBron should win MVP every year.
Here's the question always boils down to a lot of times is who is the best player in the world and who had the best season?
Right.
Because sometimes those answers are different.
Right.
The best player in the world is Jokic. Did he have the best season? I mean, yeah, probably. But SGA's season was incredible. Incredible.
Did you see that video of Jokic in a timeout, like talking to his team? And like he's doing he's basically coaching in the huddle. He's like standing up, moving. And the caption is just he's preparing them to face the gorilla. And that, I think, is what we need to end on today. So, all right, there we go. Morning Sports Desk powered by Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade in Wadena. I don't know. See you tomorrow.
Powered by Wadena's Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade. Follow the Morning Sports Desk on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. And watch every show on YouTube.